Carolina's Perfect Cast, brought to you by Culprit, more than just your favorite worm. Dave's Tournament Tackle. Shop online at davestournamenttackle.com. The Rod Glove, for all your rod and reel needs. Sunline, the strength to guarantee your confidence. It might be July, but even in the heat of summer, the day after a cold front can put fish in a funk and force you to abandon some favorite techniques in favor of others. He's taken the boat into this skinny flat like a 4x4, and now he has it all to himself.
There he is. That's a good one, too. He is stuck in that stuff. I mean, stuck. I got him. Not a bad fish. Not a bad fish. All right, I've been throwing a frog around this, and we have a north wind. And I didn't think it would matter in the summertime, a north wind on a frog bite, but put it down and picked up a Fat Max worm, and that was about my third or fourth cast with that, and caught a fish immediately. So maybe I'm on the right track now. Had a cold front come through last night. It really cooled down a lot. I mean, it's pleasant out here, and it's the end of July. The water is 87.3. I'm up here fishing in 2 feet of water, and I don't know why they won't bite a frog. You'd think with the conditions like this, they would have bit it really good. I switched to a worm and moved to a different spot, which is similar to what I was fishing earlier. And my first couple casts, I caught one in this thick primrose. It's some gnarly stuff. It's fun to get them out of. I'm not quite prepared for it. I got fluorocarbon line, need braid for this heavy stuff, but we're probably gonna have a good day based on the way this wind's blowing in and making the bait switch. Let's get after it. Oh, that's a good one right there. Man.
Dustin feels that he might not have tough enough line for the super thick cover in front of him, but he's dialing in these shallow water fish in a hurry, so he'll make do with what he has on the spool.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look at him pulling line out. I had to open the spool, hit the clutch. Man, that's a good one for this shallow water and end of July. He will not stop. Man, what a fish. I was just talking about how they ought to be around the sparse stuff, and I thrown 4 or 5 little stobs of that primrose, and that's a pretty one right there. He was off of that little bitty point, just a separate isolated patch. He's a good, probably a 5-pounder. In July, in about 2 feet of water. You know, when I rolled up in this cove and caught that first fish right away, I'm thinking, gosh, that might be a fluke. When that second one bit, I'm thinking, I might hang around a while and check this place out. Let me show you what I'm fishing with. This is a Culprit Fat Max. It's in the black shad color. There's a lot of bait fish running around in here, and I wanted something that would kind of match that and come through the cover good. I didn't want anything really bulky because the water's kind of black and clear, so I feel like this worm's a better option than a jig. A lot of times when I'm fishing this really shallow water, just a couple feet of water with a worm, I'll throw it traditionally. I'll throw it out and let it hit the bottom, but I tend to swim it a lot more. You know, the bottom's typically really silty when you get in the back of these bays and the back of a major creek. So a lot of times when that bait falls to the bottom, it's just hiding right down in silt. So in order for the fish to see the bait, you want to keep it up off the bottom and shaking, and that's when you get a lot of the bites, either on the fall or picking up reeling. What I'm really looking for in this big mat of weeds here is where the old ditch runs in. We're in the back of a big cove, and I'm hoping to find the ditch, and there's not much of a depth change, but any little depth change within all this weeds is where the fish are gonna be. I just caught one about 5 pounds just a minute ago, and I happened to be sitting right in the channel. I was in probably 3.5 feet of water throwing into 2, but just that little bit of depth change makes all the difference when you're fishing really shallow water. You know, saltwater fishermen have sharks and stingrays and everything else to worry about. If you're a freshwater fisherman or a swimmer and you get out of your boat, you got that right there to worry about. There he is. Get through the grass. Now, this is a little one. He was way up shallow. I'm thinking that's probably about 8 inches of water where he was. But I think the bigger ones are hanging out where there's a little bit of a drop. But it's July. They're all fun. By the way, I'm borrowing Dave's boat, so I hope he's not watching this. But if I can get this thing turned around, I might just blast out right across there. It's kind of like a rental car, you know, you're not really all that concerned about it. Same thing with Dave's boat. There he is. Oh yeah, he is. Some of that same water I just fished with the buzzbait. Came right out with the worm. I hooked this toad. Oh, you can see the mud I'm kicking up with the trolling motor, how shallow it is too. All right, same worm. This is an awesome worm for that heavy cover. But I just fished this like literally 10 minutes ago with the buzzbait. Caught a mudfish and a little bass and lost a bass. I was just talking about how I could come right back out here and get in a little heavier cover with this worm and maybe catch some. That's a good one there. And we left the shallow bay with all the weeds and tried a couple points and didn't really do any good with the crankbait. So I'm seeing fish high up in the water column, and I pulled up on a roadbed here, and roadbeds are notorious for schooling fish because you've got a funnel spot. You've got it deep on both sides coming up, so they push the shad up to the top, and they're notorious for topwater bites. Look at this. I saw them schooling. Man, he's like a smallmouth. You notice I got another rod out here. I made a long cast, and they came up right beside the boat schooling, and I picked up my other rod. And I got him, took advantage of it. Can't do that in a tournament though, it's illegal. Fishing with 2 rods at one time. Oh! That was nice too. This is kind of like smallmouth fishing. I think he didn't want that. And I've got a really big topwater bait on here. That's, you know, not a giant, but when they bust topwater in the middle of July like that, that is fun. Got him. I just lifted my trolling motor up, ready to go, and a school popped up. I guess they don't want me to leave. Today's drive at home point is to keep an open mind. Don't let the calendar dictate where you fish. At any given time of the year, fish could be 100 feet deep or 2 feet of water. Just because it's hot outside does not mean they have to be deep. If you like to fish shallow, give it a shot.